Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Dream Chaser Bootcamp. Today we're going to be talking about profit and loss statements. What are they? Why do we use them? And what are they for? Those three things. So what is a P&L? It's often referred to as a profit and loss statement is often referred to as a P&L. So we're going to cover what is it? Why do we use them? And how do you use them? How do you make one? As I've mentioned previously, if you've been working in the boot camp so far, you've done an assets and liabilities sheet where you've added up all your assets and your liabilities. You subtract your liabilities from your assets, and you do that calculation monthly. So like you pick January 1st to do your balance sheet, and then February 1st to do the balance sheet again, and then you can see whether or not your net worth went up or down. That's the easiest way to start making money, so that's why we start with the balance sheet first, and then move into the profit and loss statement. Because the balance sheet is just a snapshot of your accounts. It doesn't really explain how those accounts got there. The profit and loss statement gets into the nitty-gritty of what are your expenses every month, where is your income coming from, and it allows you to identify line by line where your money's coming in and where it's going out. So let's get into it using Inventory Lab. So this is Inventory Lab. InventoryLab.com. You should have gotten a link from me to join. There's a 30-day free trial that you can sign up for here at the very top. So in order to use Inventory Lab, you need to have your pro account set up with Amazon. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me. But basically, you need to be paying $40 a month for your account at this point in order to use this Inventory Lab integration, because this is accounting is one of the things that's going to really allow you to scale your business. So if you're serious, the subscription fee is a little pricey these days, but worth it. We need it. So, all right, Inventory Lab, make sure you sign up, and I'll log in and show you what a profit and loss statement is, as well as a couple other things that Inventory Lab does, just to give you a quick overview as to why it's so helpful. Okay, so once you've got your Inventory Lab account set up, they give you a whole walkthrough process. If you have any questions or trouble with that, let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. But once you're logged in, you've got everything set up properly. You've got, I have my account set up to open up to the list page. It might be set up to go to the dashboard. But essentially, there's two tabs that we're going to be concerned with primarily when it comes to accounting through Inventory Lab. So, again, we use this for a profit and loss statement because it pulls all of the sales data from Amazon, from our account, into here so that we can create profit and loss statements and track different things in our business. So let me get to the P&L here. Just give it a second. Which, by the way, you just access the P&L by going to Reports, and then at the very bottom, Profit and Loss. Okay. So now that we're at the profit and loss page in my Inventory Lab account, and you can see this is a month, January 2019. We did $150,000 in sales that month, and I'm going to explain to you just now what is a profit and loss statement. So a P&L, or profit and loss statement, shows, make myself a little smaller here, how much profit you made. So these like graded numbers are the income for the business of $122,810.30 for that month. This is the income. As you can see, it's in the income section. If I close that up, you can see that very clearly. Now, then the loss portion is under expenses. You can see for example, that first week of January, or the first 5 to 6 days or so, we had an $11,000 net after returns income, and then we had expenses equaling $9,854.45. So the net profit was $1,585.96. That's interesting. Because relative to the other weeks, the net profit was much larger. So, anyways, a profit and loss statement refers to your net profit, your income, and then the loss portion of it refers to any expenses that you might have had, which is like seen here in red. So we're going to go line by line on this sheet to just give you the whole complete overview of this. Now, I do want to get into why we use this. So why is this so important? In addition to the balance sheet, which is extremely important as well, so is the profit and loss statement. The reason why we start with the balance sheet is because it's easiest to do. All you got to do is take a snapshot of where your accounts are at, put them onto one sheet like we've done so far, and just line them up line by line, add it up, and then you know what your net worth is. And if you do that same calculation 30 days later, you can see how much money you've become, how much your net worth has increased or decreased. As I've mentioned in a previous video, one of my quick mentors, let's call him, because this was a guy that was doing really well on Amazon 7 years ago that I met, something like that. Michael was doing really well. He's selling a couple $1 million a year, and I asked him, Michael, what's the secret? How do I do that? And he said, at the end of the day, Danny, the most important thing is just to make sure that the account went up at the end of the month. Did it or did it not? So that's why the balance sheet's so important, and the profit and loss statement is a real companion or a twin in terms of financial statements for your business that gets down into the nitty-gritty, explains each and every point where you made money and where you lost money. So how to use a profit and loss statement? Well, as we go through each section here, the nice part about Inventory Lab is that it pulls your expenses directly from Amazon if there's any expenses coming in. So let me explain. Just go line by line. So this is the P&L from the month of January 2019. We had this income section here right at the top. See that drop down menu? And it explains the categories, and it breaks it down roughly by each week of the month, give or take. So sales, this is top line sales is what they refer to this as. It goes at the very top of your profit and loss statement. That's why they call it top line sales. This is like if you made a $100 order, if you sold $100 on Amazon in 1 month, this would be where you'd see that $100. So we did $14,833.38 in sales between January 1st and January 5th. The following week it was 36. The following week after that it was 36.5. The following week after that was 34. And the last couple days of the month it was 27.5. So for the entire month of January we had top line sales of $149,393.61. Now this next line is very important. We had refunds, as you can see highlighted here in red. These are expenses essentially, or money going out, of $3,790.45 the first 5 days of the month from the 1st to the 5th. Then the following week, $5,415.47, $6,752.28 for the following week after that. And then from the 20th to the 26th, it was $6,922.59. In the last couple of days of the month, it was $5,950.06 that we had of returns. So what does this mean? You've got this top line sales number here, $149,393.61. We had refunds, so this was customers getting their money back after they returned an item, of $28,830.85. So we got top line sales of $149,000, and we had refunds of close to $29,000. So this number in red, $28,830.85, gets subtracted from this number on top, $149,393.61. So this sheet is set up so that all these numbers on top, this first number, everything gets subtracted or added from that. So that's why it's on top. It's the big number, it's the sales. Then we subtract or add to that number in the following. So then there was reimbursements. So we got reimbursed for different things from Amazon. That totaled up $1,200, $1,270.47, added back to this number here, 149, right? So we went from 149.39, 61, subtracted 28, added back 1,270. Same, the next line, we got a shipping credit of $1,899.84, also added back to our total income, right? So anything that's grayed out here is adding to our income, or these like black numbers. My apologies, I'm like red-green colorblind. So, but I can explain more about that later. So the red is subtracting, these like black numbers are adding. So then we've got shipping credit refunds. I already explained that one. That's $18.99. Then we had an expense of gift wrapped credits. No, shipping credit refunds. I'm dyslexic here. Shipping credit expense of shipping credit refunds. $53.58 was subtracted. Then we were given $7.98 in gift wrap credits. And then we had expenses from promotional rebates totaling $724.04. We had goodwill, which don't quite remember. Interesting. Or promotional rebate refunds. We were given $3.61 income. And then goodwill, I think this might have been something somewhat unrelated, typically not listed on Amazon. We had an expense there of $182.15, and then there was a restocking fee from returns of $25.41 that we were credited with, it looks like. So hopefully that makes sense. Your top line sales for the profit and loss statement goes at the top, then you subtract out your refunds that you had to issue, and then you add up any credits that you were given from Amazon, and then you get a total after all these numbers are added up together. You get $122,810.30 in income from Amazon. So essentially, all these numbers in red and all these numbers in black are added up together, and then we end up with a total check from Amazon. Total checks coming from Amazon for $122,810.30. I know you're going to have questions about this, so please be sure to ask questions. So I'm going to collapse this income tab, and we're going to get into the expenses. So, the expenses category. We want this category to be as little as possible. And sometimes it's hard to do. But as important as it is to go line by line and make sure that you understand your income and you want to increase your income, your expenses, you want to keep this to a minimum. It's so easy to spend money in your business and have other people take your money. So we want to be very careful and look closely at each one of these expenses so that we understand why they are what they are, and see if we can do anything to change them or make them smaller. So, all right, let's get into it. Cost of goods sold. Your COGS is another way to say that. COGS. Cost of goods sold. This is the amount of money that you paid for your product that's sold. So, when we did, let's see, from the first week, or the first 5 days of January, when we had sales of $14,833.38, the sales were $14,833.38. What we paid for that inventory was $6,127.96. Make sense? Good. So everything that we sold of this number here, $14,833.38, what we paid for those items is reflected here. Similarly, for the grand total for the month, we did $149,000 and $149,393.61 in sales. What we paid for those items that sold was a grand total in the corner here on the side, $61,017.53. That is what cost of goods sold is. So any item that you sold and what your cost was for that. Very, very, very important number. Now, Amazon referral fee. So this is just Amazon's fee for selling on their platform. We paid $25,566.13 to them. All right, that's underselling fees. We can subtract that one. We'll just condense these as we go. FBA transaction fees. We paid $11,078.77. This is fulfillment fees for using the FBA program, gift wrap chargebacks, shipping chargebacks. So this is like printing labels, etc., like that, sending stuff to Amazon. I might have just misquoted myself there, so we'll double check as I go through here. But anyway, so shipping chargeback refunds, we got $49.97 in income there. Nice. That helps a little bit with these big red scary numbers. And then from there, we've got the FBA inventory and inbound service fees. Okay, so this is what I meant. Inbound shipping fees. Pardon, I have to sneeze. Okay, so we're looking back over here. You see where my face is at. We're going to look at FBA inventory and let's see, is it going to give me the inbound service fees? So 30-day storage fees, anything that we're storing at Amazon over 30 days, they're going to ding us right here. My account, they dinged me $408.54 the week of the 6th. So want to keep that to minimum. I typically have my account settings so that inventory doesn't sit over 4 months. Anything longer than that doesn't really make sense for the stuff that we sell. So you can change that in your Seller Central settings. If you go to settings and then fulfillment by Amazon, you can adjust how long they store your inventory before you have it sent back to you or destroyed. So removal order fees, we got $5.10. Disposal order fees, $2.25. Inbound shipping fees. This is what I was referring to earlier accidentally on this other section. These are your shipping labels, what you paid to ship stuff in. $322.62 if you bought shipping through Amazon, that is, to send in for FBA. And you can see we totaled up to $897.31 for that month. And then long-term storage fees, we only paid $19.92. Customer return, let's see, per unit fee. So any of these refunds that also involved a return to FBA, these are the fees we paid to have it restocked, essentially. $1,532.34. Got to watch out for that one. And then the next section is other expenses. So these are expenses where you can start to add in your own items as well, and I'll show you how to do that so you can keep track of everything in your business using this page. We also use QuickBooks, but that is, for the purposes of the boot camp, this is more than sufficient as a profit and loss statement to get you going. And then at a later date, you might want to look at using QuickBooks because it integrates with your bank accounts, and you can pull transactions from your bank accounts through QuickBooks. All right, so now let's look at this other expenses page, though. We've got refund administration fee. Yeah, I talked about that already. Selling fee refunds, because those orders were returned, Amazon gave us a refund on the selling fee, $4,940.95. Sales tax, service fees, $12.99. Subscription fees. So this is an area where I added in subscriptions that I was paying outside of Amazon for, like software using for research like Keepa, or maybe like SellerAmp would be an example from today. Yeah, anything where you have a subscription that's used for your business, you would put it into this profit and loss statement. And then you've got your Amazon Pro subscription here listed for $39.99. And we collapse that expenses menu, and we'll collapse down the income, and then we can see everything broken down here, you know, net income for the month of January was $122,000, $810.30, minus expenses of $97,337.20, for a total net profit of $25,473.10. Then we've got the other categories here, which is just sales tax. Amazon collects sales tax on behalf of sellers these days, but it breaks out to a pretty healthy profit margin for retail arbitrage of 20.74%. Again, that's $25,473.10. And then expenses were close to 80, but this is pretty typical, not bad. So, yeah, $25,473.10 is 20% of this number, $122,810.30. So I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of questions about this. I'll show you how to add your expenses real quick, but just know that you really need to stay on top of this sheet. And for Amazon sellers who are doing retail arbitrage, a typical profit margin, which is this line right here, this number of 20.74%, that's typical. For retail arbitrage, between 15 and 20%, you're golden. Anything more than that, that's really awesome. If you're closer to like 10% and you're doing RA, something's wrong. If you're doing online arbitrage, 10 to 15% is more normal. And once you get into wholesale, also 10 to 15% is kind of more normal. In private label, you can get closer to like 30% net profit. But every single month, as soon as this profit loss statement is done, this populates every time you get a paycheck from Amazon. It will add more info here. But you want to go through each line item and make sure that nothing is out of order or seems exorbitant every single month. Especially this section here, subscription fees, which I'll show you how to look at in just a second. Okay, real quick, this is how you add expenses to your profit and loss statement. This again would be like any subscription fees for different softwares that you use. You can add them right here. So we'll click that, move my big head out of the way, and then you'll select your category. So subscription fees, you could just put it right there. Starting date, so when are you starting the subscription? Maybe this would be like the first time you got billed, and then you'll put in the amount. Let's say it's $30 for QuickBooks, or this could potentially be for a repricer, and then you could repeat it weekly, monthly, or yearly depending on the subscription. Most software subscriptions are going to be either monthly or yearly. Yep, so that's how you add that. And let me see if there's anything else I want to cover real quick. Okay, yes, there was a couple other things I wanted to mention. Real quick, you can add your mileage, so keep track of your mileage that you're going out to buy stuff to resell. Very important. And then from there, you can play around with some of these other things. You can add other income if you want to add other income to your profit and loss statement, or keep track of any reimbursements, refunds, etc. But I want to show you inventory valuation. This is very important for doing your balance sheet. This is the easiest way for you to tell exactly how much you paid for the inventory you have. Let's check it out real quick. Also, they give you supplier and category profitability, SKU profitability, ASIN profitability, in addition to that as well. Okay, so this is the inventory valuation page. You can see up here in the corner there. I'll make myself a little bit smaller. I was going to make some dumb joke about having a big ego, but anyway. Yes, so this is your inventory valuation page. This is a very important page for doing your taxes and accounting, keeping track of how much inventory. This is at the very bottom here. It's where I'm looking currently. So at the time on January 31st of 2019, on this exact day, because you can only do it on a single day at a time, I had $0 in merchant fulfilled inventory, I had in the Amazon fulfilled inventory, again, this is the amount of money I paid for the items, $43,059.70. This is what I paid for the inventory that I had at the Amazon warehouse. Followed up with, I had inbound inventory of $14,264.30 inbound, so it was shipping to Amazon at that time. And unlisted. This would be like any inventory that you bought but not yet uploaded to Inventory Lab. You would add it there manually through this section over here. But anyway, $57,324 total inventory valuation on January 31st, 2019. So, you can play with this sheet a lot of different ways. It helps you figure out if you've got any stuck inventory or stuff maybe you even forgot to put the price on, which looks like that's what happened with these Converse size 13s. I'm just clicking on total value and it's organizing it by, at the time I had these Columbia women's jackets. I had 11 of them. They were worth a little over $1,100 total. And you can see each one of these laid out. It tells you if it was inbound, active, etc. So, very cool stuff, very handy. You can go and figure out, all right, which one of these do I have too much in stock of? And you can see I had 14, which at the time, since we were in the middle of January, having a heavy jacket in stock, not a problem. But, yeah, a lot of Columbia at that time. Adidas, Nike, Salomon. Important sheet, you know what I mean? And, right, folks, if you got any questions about setting up your profit and loss statement, please ask. It's so important, along with your balance sheet and your profit and loss statement, to get those two things right and to look at them at least monthly so that you can identify where you're making money, how you're making money, and you do more of the thing that's allowing you to make money and less of the thing that's not. And so the balance sheet and the profit and loss statement are like the two lenses by which you look at your business to see where the money is, where it's going, and whether or not you're actually making any money or losing. So they are vitally important. Remember, that which can be measured can be improved. If you can measure it, you can manage it. If you can measure it, if you can manage it, you can grow it. All right, folks, any questions or comments, please let me know. I'm here for you, and I'll talk to you soon.